Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. Also, those tuning in through online affiliates, including iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, it is pub day for our next guest. We're excited to welcome author Graci Kim to our program. She's now introduced us to a great world featuring the character Riley O. The new book is called The Last Fallen Star. Of course, we'll let you guys know how to get your own copy of the book and stay connected with Graci. But Graci, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, hi, Cyrus. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, the pleasure is definitely all mine. First of all, I have to ask you, Graci, how does it feel to finally have this book out in the world?
It feels so real is probably the best way to put it, especially because it's all virtual. You know, I live in New Zealand, as you can probably tell from my accent, and I was supposed to be in the US celebrating in person, but that lovely friend of ours, COVID, turned up, and so I'm still in New Zealand.
Right, right.
It's an amazing feeling. Yeah.
Well, I think that it's so interesting you mentioned that, but I think COVID would find its way appropriately into any book these days as something for for the heroes to deal with. I love what you've done though in this book, Graci, and I said in my review on Amazon that Riley is, I think, the perfect representation for a lot of us, someone who is trying to find their place, but is kind of able to embrace her own power. So I want to ask you, as a storyteller, Graci, what has that been like for you to realize what you want to do as a writer and then to embrace that power and do it?
So it's a really interesting discovery that I had in myself. I have always loved books. I've been a huge devourer of words. And one day, as an adult, I was reading back on some of my favorites, and it was at that point I realized that I had been invisible my entire life, and I hadn't known it. The worst part was that through these books, not seeing people like me on the page, I had internalized this belief that people like me didn't belong in books, definitely not be the heroes of our own stories. And this worry festered. I couldn't stop thinking about how sad that was, because what greater oppression is there than being told that you don't deserve to exist? Yeah. And at first I just thought I'll just let other people do it. It will change. I don't like this feeling, but it will change by itself. And then one day I realized, what? No, I can't just complain about it. If I feel passionately about this, and if I have something to say, if I have a story to tell, then I need to tell it. I need to be part of that change. So in a way, coming to write Riley's journey was after a discovery, after a journey of my own, I guess.
Yeah. And I love that, and I think it's such a great connection, Graci, with Riley O in so many ways, because Riley, as I mentioned, Riley is trying to find where she belongs, and also that she matters. But I also love the fact that even though the book is so entertaining and the world you create, I think, is so enjoyable, there's so many great lessons that come through it. One of those comes from the character Sora. So I want to ask you, what was it like for you to create this character who is not only courageous, but also able to give some great advice about life?
Oh, gosh. I think I pulled so much from my own family. I think my family are my biggest inspirations. My parents are my biggest heroes. And my Haimoni, my grandmother, who has passed away, I wish she had been alive to see this happen, because a lot of the things, not just in Sora as a character, but all of the lessons that Riley O learned through her adventure, I think that I definitely took from lessons I learned from my family, and funnily enough, my Haimoni was illiterate, so she probably wouldn't have been able to read it, I credit it all to them and their love, and the idea that hardships can come, but there is always another way of looking at the same thing, and there is always, this is the crux of it for me, there is always something you can do. The action that you can take is what is truly powerful.
Yeah. And I bring up, Sora, and thank you so much for sharing that. My grandmother passed away 5 months before my first book came out, Gracie. So I totally understand what you're talking about. But I love this, what Sora says to not only to Riley O, but also in general. And this is the thing that really stood out to me. We don't need the goddesses to do good works. Magic is all around us. Is that what you hope readers take away from this, that regardless of their age, regardless of their geographic location, that they can create something great exactly where they are?
Absolutely. So I think there's two big messages that I really hope readers can take away regardless of their age or what their background is. And one is that point about belonging you mentioned before, that that search and yearning for belonging is universal to all of us, and that true belonging does have to start from within. And the second one is that, yes, magic is all around us. We don't need to be given powers by anyone, and that true magic is in the decisions and the choices that we make in our day-to-day life.
Yeah. The last thing I'll mention without giving anything away, Gracie, that I love about this book is how we're able to find out the selflessness that Riley has, willing to give it all for someone else. Why was that important for you to make such a central part of this book, what she was willing to do, not for herself or for her own pat on the back, but to be able to do something for someone that she loved?
Gosh, yeah, that is such a fundamental part of my upbringing. I have two younger sisters, we're three girls, and we were told from day dot that it's all about the whole. It's about all of us. And the actions that we take as individuals affect each other. And so it was just a fundamental part of who I am and who our family are and what we believe. And so, I didn't even mean for that to be injected in, but I guess by nature of being a writer, I've pulled from my life, and it's something I hold so dear because it's so precious. I think there is something so beautiful and rewarding, and also so selfish, actually, in a way, of thinking about the whole, because when you do something for somebody else, it makes you feel important and it makes you feel love.
Yeah. Such a great point and such a great conversation with author Graci Kim today, celebrating the release of her new book, The Last Fallen Star. As I mentioned, I've already written my review on Amazon. You guys can get it from Amazon for yourself or through your favorite local bookstore if they don't have it. I know they'd be glad to order The Last Fallen Star for you. And Graci, you mentioned, of course, you're doing things virtually. How can our audience stay connected with you?
Yes, absolutely. They can find more about the book at giftedclans.com. They can find out more about me at gracikim.com, and I'm also on social media. I'm on Twitter at Graci Kim and on Instagram as Graci Kim Wright.
All right, Graci, congratulations to you again. So glad to be a part of your Pub Day experience today, and looking forward to our next conversation together.
Thank you so much, Cyrus.
Hey,
it's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Same here. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.